everyone once again. We apologize for some of the technical issues that have been present so far with us tonight. But RMC game one, I don't think we really got to do the post game, but from Ashe's Esports just had an absolute throttle or stranglehold over this game from start to finish, and taking that game in less than 21 minutes means that they're looking for the sweep here in game two.
Yeah, just to remind everybody, the final score in that game, 20 minutes, 50 seconds, 24-6 in favor of from Ashe's Esports in terms of kills. Zolt did not die a single time, 8-0-8. Rem did not die a single time, 7-0-10. Those are the two carries. They did their job, and this Poppy, this Dark Harvest Poppy went 5-1-8 as well.
Yeah, just punishing that Kane first pick that Arctic Ops set up for Evo. Doesn't look like that will happen this time. It decides to have swap for matches. Going over to that blue side, Arctic Ops will be on your red side. Some of the bans are being consistent as of now. The Thresh, Hecarim, and now that Kane getting taken away. So interestingly enough, looks like from Ashes don't want to see that Kane once again, even though it didn't have a whole lot of impact in that first one.
And it's understandable because this time from Ashe's Esports is blue side. So what Arctic Ops can do if they so wish is pick that Kane R3 and then ban the Poppy for the next round. So from Ashe's Esports, they didn't want to deal with that, but I'm more surprised by the Poppy ban. The fact that they banned the Poppy tells me that they think it's not just the Kane issue. Anything else they might want to pick for Evo in this jungle probably isn't super comfortable into the Poppy, and for that matter, the entire composition, they might still want to do the run back with that misfortune, and they don't want that Keeper's Verdict to mess them up.
Yeah, and it makes a decent amount of sense when you look at Evo's champion pool. Aside from the Hecarim and Kane, who both already got taken off the table, the three other champions that I would have expected Evo to pick up would be Xin Zhao, Graves, and maybe in the Echo jungle that recently just got buffed. So those three champions all have dashes, all can get interrupted by that steadfast presence. The counter still could potentially be there. But from Ashes, going to be that Varus lock-in once again for Rem. Saw some really great stuff out of him in game one. We'll try to make it a second.
Yeah, don't fix what ain't broke. I mean, last pick and ban phase Graves, we're talking about all the changes that came through. Oh, Varus got nerfed, Misfortune got buffed, Mundo got buffed. None of that mattered last game. Sure, they got nerfed, but Varus is still very, very strong. And it felt like it came down more to recognizing, more the supports recognizing when to go in, when were their strong points. Now, Arctic Ops, huge change up here. The Shen insta-pick here for Swarms. Swarms, I believe, hasn't played it this
I think he has one game.
Or he has one game on it. Okay.
Yeah.
So it'll be his first repeat. So he's already played the Darius twice. So yeah, this will be his second repeat this split, but it's a nice strong pick. And when you think about what the Mundo brought to the table, Shen brings a lot of the same, except that he has more team fight strength and even more global pressure. So I do like the pickup here.
Yeah, the global pressure from Ashe's Esports in that game one was absolutely incredible. The Realm Morphs and the teleports down from, the Rise in that game, alongside even the Gnar coming down as well, were both super crucial. So trying to add some more of that, saying, hey, if you got globals, we got some globals as well from Arctic Ops. Maybe will help them try to turn the tides in some of their mid-game skirmishes that they really wanted to set up down in the bottom lane. That getting picked up here from Ashes, it looks like Akira will probably be picking that up, as it is a champion that he so often goes to. The Xin Zhao, another power pick that was banned in that last game, gonna go to scanning.
Yeah, and this set being picked up here, I like it too because it's a flex, right? We talked about the fact that Misfortune wants some sort of big wombo combo setup, and you look at all the champions who do that. Leona, Nautilus, Alistar, all of them do pretty poorly into set support here. So that could still be flexed down. And if not, I mean, you already know that Shen is going to be in that top lane. So set is going to beat up on that Shen in the 1v1. And it is going to be the Graves picked up for Arctic Ops here for the side of Evo. And it's not exactly a champion that I think would have to be terribly worried about the Poppy. I mean, sure, you can't quick draw in, but it can't stop you from quick drawing away, and you are still ranged. But it does do a lot of damage.
Yeah, I mean, and the Poppy, even besides having that W, was still a pretty big factor, especially towards the early game. Him alongside Lawton on that Alistar were able to create a lot of early pressure in the early game, yielding that 3 buff that, didn't necessarily involve any jungle v jungle interaction there. So the Poppy still was a pretty strong pick, but it seems like doesn't really matter here for scanning, because he still has a bunch of other picks that he can go to. This Xin Zhao as well. So as we head into the second phase of bans, it will be the mid lane heavily targeted here. Conveyings, Kassadin notably getting taken off the board alongside Zalt's signature control mages.
And that does open up the Orianna that was banned last game. And honestly, if you had asked me at the draft last game, I would have told you Orianna R5 here looks better than that Rise. So depending on what Arctic Ops do, if they're not picking something like a Braum that can stop the Orianna ball from getting all the way to the back, the Orianna might just be the pickup to make this composition from Ashe's Esports work.
Yeah, that would be very, very exciting. That Orianna MF, one of those classic wombo combo compositions. Just would be really good to see coming out from Arctic Ops. And that's kind of the thing that Arctic Ops might want to do here, try to aim towards some more simplicity. Falling in that game one very, very early on was definitely not what they wanted to do, to try and take a spot there in that first place of Group B from Ashes. And so with Orianna lock-in coming through, definitely expecting to see a lot of heavy team fight presence, and this time I think their champions are just a little bit better at doing it.
Yeah, Orianna being locked in Graves. We were talking about the Orianna. It's going to be denied, not by a ban. They're going to flat out pick it. I like it, but they still need some reliable AoE engage here. So I'm expecting, Leona, potentially Nautilus for that final pickup. It didn't work last game. And honestly, even this game, it's probably going to be kind of rough, but they do need something to set them up. And from Ashe's Esports, they have to blind their mid lane and support at this point. The Syndra coming in as an answer to the Orianna. That is a matchup that we used to see a lot, but it's not exactly Syndra favored because it's hard to bully the Orianna, and Orianna is more than happy to just sit back and farm.
Will be Shoes most likely picking up this last pick, of course. Always the possibility of Arctic Ops getting another pickup for Swarms up in the top side to try and counter this set in some way. Not entirely sure what that would end up being, as the Shen is definitely a pick that works really well. But there it is. That's the Rel going over to Shoes. So another heavy team fighting support, and I think it really synergizes well with the Shen. Sorry, you can dive in with the crash down and Stand United on top, and as on top of all of the heavy damage and crowd control that is available onto the backline of Arctic Ops, be a very scary team fight composition.
Yeah, definitely a champion that has kind of fallen out of meta. We're not seeing too many Rels recently, and it has to do with her base stats not being ideal, her damage numbers not being super, super high, but she always has been very good into engage champion, so should do fairly comfortably into the Nautilus in this bot lane as well. My biggest issue, though, is that last game, the bot lane not only lost off the fact that Shoes wasn't present early, but also the fact that Kuro on the Varus here couldn't, or pardon me, it was I got it backwards here. Miss Kuro on the Misfortune, not the Varus, pardon me, was simply outranged by the Varus, could not actually trade into the Varus effectively, and that's not going to change with this Rel. If anything, I'm worried that we're going to see Rel and Misfortune poked out once again, and then we're not going to see that big level 6 wombo combo.
Yeah, I mean, the Varus coming in here from Ashe's Esports, we saw Rem do so much with it in that last game, and even though it's going to be the Nautilus instead of the Alistar to pair alongside, it's still a very similar idea, similar playstyle. And as you said, the short range of Misfortune definitely could be punished just a bit. The Make It Rains are definitely not as much poke as those piecing arrows coming through.
Now, compositional, we know exactly what Arctic Ops wants to do. The game plan hasn't changed. The moment you've kind of locked in that Misfortune, you know that that team is going to want to go for those big team fights, that sort of wombo combo-esque style. But from Ashe's Esports, their composition is quite different from what we saw last game. Last game, they kind of wanted a very clean front to back. They had the tools to team fight with as well. This time, they don't have quite as many team fight tools, but they have very, very strong skirmishing. We talked about Set being a bit of a counter to the Shen in the top lane. Varus, Nautilus outranging the bot lane, mid lane. We said Syndra, okay, it's a bit hard to kill the Orianna alone, but you do have the Xin Zhao. And when it comes to that 2v2, Orianna doesn't bring a lot to the table early. She needs usually, 1-2 items to really start hurting, and she needs that shockwave. Pre-6, the dueling power from Arctic Ops jungle mid duo is going to be significantly weaker. So from Ashe's Esports, they are looking to take over the game early. They did it last game, and they didn't even have necessarily the champions for it. I'm looking forward to see if they can replicate that success again in game 2.
Yeah, and I would even argue, RMC, that I think from Ashe's Esports probably have all three pushing lanes here. They have the Zet, they have the Syndra, and they have that Varus paired alongside the Nautilus. And so it allows Scanning to really have a lot of priority throughout the jungle, especially through the early clears. Xin Zhao, similar to the Poppy, is one of those champions that, while the clear is rather healthy and fast towards the early stages, definitely will get out-farmed by a Graves if the game continues to go on. So Scanning will have to look for some of these early ganks. We saw him go for the early macro plays in game 1, but now with a lot of the advantageous advantageous matchups that FAE have set up for themselves, Scanning will be in a position to do it again.
Yeah, and that does mean that from Ashe's Esports, the priority this game, I think in the early game, is going to be more on Herald than Dragons. I mean, you can get both. Why not both if you are far ahead enough? But if you do have to choose, it's going to be Herald first because they want to speed up the game. Arctic Ops, they need to survive to level 6. If they can get to level 6 on equal footing, then they have a chance to fight back. And as the game goes further into the mid game, around the 15 to 25-minute mark, that is Arctic Ops' window to absolutely crush it. If we get past the 15 to 25 minutes marks, then things get a lot dicier. I don't think they have a good answer to a set split push. And in these team fights, Varus is going to outdamage Misfortune. Arctic Ops has a lot of upfront burst, but if you can't burst down a target quick enough here, well, you're going to lose the fight.
Yeah, that's kind of what's going to have to happen for Arctic Ops, trying to start these fights early, trying to get shoes and swarms into the backline as soon as possible, and try to catch FAE off guard before some of the side lane potential starts to go in, before Akira starts to push down into the base on one of the side lanes. And yeah, for Arctic Ops, they've set up the team fight composition. They just have to find the angles to try and execute when that ends up happening.
Yeah, a lot of pressure on Shoes this game. Last game, Shoes on almost every single engage kind of got killed because the team couldn't back him up. And in this game, it's no different. It has to be Shoes looking for that engage. And I know we talked about Shen United trying to buff up that rel going in. You have to keep in the back of your mind that Shen might not actually ever arrive. If you're 1v1 against the Set has so many tools to interrupt teleport, to interrupt Stand United. And for that matter, if you're just standing there taking a pounding, by the time Swarms arrives, he might be half dead himself. So Arctic Ops here, bot lane, my eyes on the support, on the captain here. Shoes has to make the big plays.
We'll see if he can. We'll see if he can keep Arctic Ops alive in this series. Once again, his team trying to tie FAE in first place in this group for Risen Divine League. We got game 2 coming your way in just a couple of minutes. We're going to take a short break, but when we come back, Summoner's Rift, we'll see if FAE can continue the sweep. Alrighty, everybody, we're back on Summoner's Rift for Game 2 of this matchup between From Ashes Esports and Arctic Ops here in the Risen Divine League. RMC, we're here in the second half of the season, as we mentioned before. From Ashes Esports in that undefeated position, up 1-0, looking to make it that clean sweep, but they've had some rocky starts, rocky games here in these Game 2s, so we'll be interested to see if they'll be able to close.
This is a awkward position. Arctic Ops grouping as 5, looking to walk in, and there was that second where Lawton saw them, and they're just kind of staring at each other. Do we go on this here? But there's no actual long-range initiate coming through from Arctic Ops at level 1, so they do have to walk away. And if anything, scanning, there's a 3-man ambush.
This could actually be good. The level 1 potential from the top side here From Ashes Esports is pretty formidable. Swarms is taking the long way around, not trying to do anything too risky here. Kings will spot him out with a nice ward onto the red buff, and if this ends up being a red buff take for the side of From Ashes Esports, Arctic Ops definitely will know potential for some vertical jungling here in this game too.
Okay, and yeah, the ward will spot them out. So unlike game 1 here, in game 1, Evo just got completely blindsided, didn't know what was happening. This time, they know it's happening, and not only do they know it's happening, but they can actually push out to do it. Syndra level 1 isn't great in team fights. If anything, Orianna can kind of match it, but bot side, the hook lands, and that might make a difference. Yeah,
Shoes just used that crash down to get the shield, but the shield ends up getting burned right through with the dredge line coming through from Lawton, just punishing the aggressive pathing that Shoes took towards the bot lane to start the lane off. Not going to be too much of a concern here as he'll mount right back up. Try to get that shield back in just about 10 seconds or so. And early on, this lane for the Rel, not super impactful in terms of engage potential. Probably just going to look to farm up and get those levels down.
Oh, and Evo was too fast. Got spotted on a ward on Rid here. He's going to be able to secure it, but he's deep in enemy territory. And where is Evo going to go here?
Yeah, really great map awareness coming out from Ashes Esports. Will Evo manage to get this recall off? It looks like he will be able to. Will just be the enemy red buff that he ends up stealing away. On the other side, Scanning did end up taking the Raptors of Arctic Ops, so will be a 1 camp advantage here from Ashes, as the jungle advantage is still, while not as big as game 1, is going to be there.
Yeah, and once again, it's Scanning coming out a hit, but the bot lane here, Grapes, is not going quite as well. They're answering back now, but still, this Misfortune Rel is able to beat out the Varus. That's not what you expect to see. The range advantage that Rem should have has not been able to come into play, and if they don't win as heavily in the bot lane as they did last time, Scanning doesn't get free run of the map, and Evo, despite falling behind early, can still just power farm right back in.
Yeah, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that Rem and Lawton kind of have to stay back early on, considering that Evo was all around the bottom side, and knowing that Scanning was taking the enemy red buff up top lane, so there would be no jungle intervention on their side. Kuro and Shoes were able to get the early push in. Not going to be too much of, a punish for them, as the CS has equalized at around 19. On the top side, Akira did end up going for that cheater recall to pick himself up a Ruby Crystal, and so he'll be at a bit of an economy advantage here as the wave's pushing into him as well.
The cheater recall, and you're still even in CS, that tells you you're winning. And look where Scanning is after all that shenanigans early. Scanning is topside.
Yeah, back in the top lane. Akira has taken a lot of damage, but it's just going to be in a big haymaker as well. Scanning going to go forward. The 2 flashes from Ashes Esports will pick up first blood for themselves up in the top lane. Scanning once again using his early prio in that top side to pick up a good kill.
I am scared for Swarms here. I hope he does not teleport, but mid lane Zolt should be fine. Just going to get poked out a little bit.
Yep, just will get out there safely. Evo trying to do some sort of work to match the pressure that Scanning has already set up for himself, but instead will find himself back about 2 camps and down that crucial kill. So once again, the jungle from Ashes Esports doing some good work here, RMC, and it looks like just a lot more of the same so far.
Yeah, already, sure, your bot lane isn't winning quite as hard, but it's starting to win a little bit. I mean, it's actually even. They just need to clear this wave, but top and mid are swinging their way. The fact that Swarms had to walk back to lane meant that he missed roughly about 2 waves there in the top side. So level advantage. Hook lands the bot lane.
Oh, big damage already on the Shoes. Nice flash coming out from Rem, but he's still getting hit up with the crash down. Shoes will pick it up with the ignite. And now Lawton's trying to get some sort of return. Will pick it up with the Riptide. And now Kuro's in a bit of a bad position. Hook's gonna land as well. No summoner spells means no life. Scanning picks it up. 3-1 in favor of FAE.
Wind becomes lightning, Kuro becomes dead. That's the story of the bot lane right now. It was a really good engage, though, from Shoes and Kuro. They had no way to know that scanning was coming, and the fact they got that kill first is great. Sure, it kind of means a reset with a slight advantage in the bot side to the side of Faye, but none of the kills went to Rem. One of them went to Lawton, so not the worst case scenario by a long shot.
Yep, and it will mean Scanning will pick up that first dragon as well. It's going to be that Ocean Drake, but it looks like the rest of Arctic Ops is trying to make their way down here. Could see some bit of intervention here. Scanning does not have flash, but does have that smite. Zalt is going to be forced to run down here to secure this dragon with his jungler, and after a bit of a risky situation, it will be that first Drake picked up.
Yeah, and I want to highlight why they had to back off in the bot lane. It wasn't because Rem and Lawton were coming up and it would have been a 3v2. Lawton went back to base. It's the mid lane. Zolt is getting full control right now of the mid lane, is perma-shoving, as you mentioned, and has not been punished. And even now, Zolt is actually roaming up towards the top and might catch out Evo.
Yeah, Evo going for an aggressive roam up there, using that scanner to take out a ward there in the top side. But looks like he's just gonna sit there into the Baron pit. Finally uses the dash to get out, and Zalt just knew better than to try and go for that play. Heads back to the mid lane to pick up the wave.
Not gonna lie, I thought Evo was just gonna wait till they left, come back for the scuttle there. Actually does get out, was just waiting for the cooldowns. Now bot side, again the punishment.
They're going once again. Scanning, coming in forward with the audacious charge, and Rem will pick it up with the empowered arrow. Man, Kuro's not having a fun time in this lane, gonna die for the second time in a row.
This is pre-6 Graves. This is before Rem has a Chains of Corruption and before Lawton has that point-and-click depth charge here. And they are already dominating it. Post-6, those are just free kills for Scanning. And Faye is winning right now. I want to see them win harder. I want to see them look topside for that Herald we were talking about.
Well, it looks like Arctic Ops are going to make a play of their own at the top side. Swarms going forward. Evo trying to do some damage as well. Akira is very tanky, though. That's the power of that Ruby Crystal he picked up off the cheater recall. It will allow him to get away with just about 40% HP. No kills just yet in the top side, but Stand United issued onto the bot lane. Shoes was under attack there, and so Swarms here to try and reinforce. But Scanning gonna get up with the audacious charge, and Swarms goes down. Lawton looking for something as well. Not gonna be able to find anything under the tower, but just gonna be that one kill. The Stand United does not work out for Swarms as he dies in the wrong lane.
Okay, so the setup to that fight was that Rem and Lawton had pushed Kuro and Shoes behind their turret. Scanning wasn't even threatening. Scanning was just taking the jungle at that point there, and they still managed to force the Stand United to come out, and then Swarms dies. Swarms is effectively out of the game at this point. Akira is just going to run havoc on that top side. And if you are the side of Arctic Ops, we said that if they can hit 6 without being too deep in a hole, they can win fights. They are in the hole right now. Almost, was that 2,500 gold deficit for the side of Arctic Ops. They're about to hit 6. And considering how game 1 went, I want to see them immediately upon 6 play to the bot side, get that bullet time rolling.
Swarms looking for something here in the mid lane. Zalt is going to know better than to try and push aggressively into the tower. Going to just take that recall, and Swarms just trying to do something here. He knows he can't lane up against Akira at this point, so he's going to try and help out Evo, take down some of the enemy buffs, and try to get something back, because Scanning in the jungle has just made Evo the secondary in this situation. Now, with the blue buff picked up, Scanning looking for the aggressive play. Big damage coming out already. The knockup is here. There comes the grand challenge. Shoes gonna dash forward with the crash down, but look at the back here coming in with a face breaker. Double Shoes and Scanning will actually fall first. The rest of the team of Arctic Ops is here as well. Evo will fall, but another kill going in. A double for Shoes as Akira falls, and it looks like Arctic Ops is trying to make something out of nothing here. Lawton in a bit of a bad situation. Zalt is here with the 2-man scatter. The weak Swarms has the flash, gonna taunt in onto the support. Full time coming through, and Kuro pick up another kill.
That is so clean come from Arctic Ops. We said we need to see that. It's not that big wombo combo, but they find the picks they need. And the TP from Akira.
Oh my goodness, 4-man face breaker from Akira. He's gonna get his double kill coming through already. Zalt already with a 3-man scout of the week to set the entire play up, and he lands one more Dark Sphere to pick up another double kill coming through. And even though Arctic Ops win the initial fight, Akira was massive in securing the re-engage.
What did we just witness, Cripps? It was such a big case of yes, 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 no, 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 no. It was looking so good. And then Akira, single-handedly, that showstopper into 4 members here, absolutely wrecked them. And they were closing the gap. It was a 2,500 gold gap, but one little top laner showing up grew the gap now into an almost 4,000 gold lead. Herald picked up by scanning as well after the end of all of that. And the reason why I keep harping on Herald here, Grapes, is because that is what is going to speed up the game even more. I almost feel like dropping the top lane and let Akira get even further ahead, make him an absolutely unstoppable force.
Oh yeah, I mean, this little top laner is not so little anymore. He's just continuing to pressure in on that an enormous teleport play coming out at him. And before that sort of engage, you could have thought to yourself, okay, Arctic Ops, they have the scaling team fight. If they just get out without Akira coming down in that teleport, you could argue that the game's in a decent spot for them to try and take it. But now, it's just a really big gold lead once again, and they're going to have to try to do something about it. Here comes the Stand United onto Shoes. Lawton is going to get hit up with the stuns and try to use the depth charge to buy some time, but he will fall in return. Evo's here as well, so there's 4 members onto the bot side for Arctic Ops. Scanning is here, does still have the Eye of the Herald. They try and look for something. Audacious charge in onto Eva. Teleport's coming in from Zalt as well. Conveying has arrived to the fight. Shockwave just coming off of cooldown, trying to look for something. 2-man together. We coming up from Zalt. There comes that unleashed power, but he is going to just get stunned up. There's the bullet time. There's the top. There's everything going down onto the Syndra, and he will fall. Now Swarms caught in a 1v3 will die in the backside. Rem will pick up his second kill of the game. Kuro just trying to run under the tower here, as it looks like from Ashe's Esports responded to the roam well enough to make the trade even.
And despite the fact that they lost, I want to give praise to Arctic Ops for that play, because they did the right move. They went for the numbers play. They used the Stand United to get down into that bot lane ASAP and find the early kill. If the gold had been even, they get Dragon as well, and they are back into the game. But because they're down so much gold right now, they buy time. Akira gets to join the fight. He had to walk from that top lane all the way down. And scanning right now, Akira, these two in the top side of the map for Faye, they can 1v2, 1v3. And Arctic Ops, you basically have to avoid them, play anywhere where they're not.
Yeah, I mean, it's not good right now for Arctic Ops. You can't team fight if you're down about 4,000 gold. It's a very similar situation as we had in Game 1 RMC. Gold lead is not as big, but it's still definitely there. And from Ashe's Esports is able to continuously push their early game advantages. And we saw it ended in a quick win in Game 1. We'll see if it can turn into a quick win in Game 2.
Now, if we take stock of the situation here, for Arctic Ops, they're down 2 dragons, down a herald, and down a little bit of pressure. Are they going to be able to find multi?
Swarms and Shoes don't have a whole lot of damage. Rem going to issue the Chains of Corruption to just stall out the Shen for some re-engage. Kuro was here on the backside, not able to really join the fight just yet. You can see, the agency coming out from Arctic Ops to make some plays just hasn't resulted in too much just yet.
Yeah, and again, it's the right idea, right? Go for Rem, go for Lawton, go for Zalt. These 3 are still killable here. I like that they're going to do that, and I hope that they continue. But I do want to take quick stock of where their power levels are for both these teams, because the bot laners actually aren't that far apart. Kuro is roughly equivalent to Rem right now. Your mid laners, too. The Mythic just came through for Zalt. So the moment Convey can pick up his Mythic, they're actually okay there. The big difference is the top side, where Core Drinker has been picked up by Akira, and Swarm's still sitting on components. Oh, okay, it's a 4v2.
Oh yeah, some supportal combat's gonna erupt into a lot quicker. Unleash power coming out from Zalt to secure another kill onto Shoes. Face checking at the wrong time will mean his 4th death of the game. Now, Akira looking to go here onto Evo, but does have some reinforcements on the side of Arctic Ops. Conveying is here, Shockwave is available, Swarms is here, making it a 3v1. Face, there comes the showstopper forward. Akira doing a good job of the movement to dash out. Scanning, Shockwave going to land onto him. Stand United issued onto Evo to keep the Graves alive for now, but Swarms will fall due to that self-stun that he locks himself into off of the ulti. It will just be a 1-for-0. Could have been a whole lot worse.
confirmation right there, Grapes. We're saying that, okay, they can 1v2, they can 1v3. Yeah, they can definitely 1v2, and they can survive a 1v3.
Oh,
Akira going for more.
Yeah, Conveying is on the wrong side of this 1v1. Blue buff is on, but not going to be too much just yet. There's the phase rush. Akira looking for something, just chasing after him. Gonna use the flash, gonna use the haymaker. That's another kill. 14-6 in favor of FAE.
Grapes, have you ever watched a train wreck, a car crash?
I hope I never have to.
We just did.
Well, and Akira gonna try to do something here, but can he get it some sort of turn? Gale Force out from Kuro. Oh my goodness, one more Q coming out from Akira. Might have been able to do something incredibly insane there, but Kuro will be able to pick it up and take that train that was about to crash and push it just a little bit back onto the rails.
That's the Spider-Man moment right there, where he's holding back the entire train, just barely. And that is brutal to watch. They effectively had to commit 3 members down into the bot lane to kill Akira, because Kuro can't actually kill him alone. It was Shoes with the CC buying time for that full-fledged bullet time to come across here. And if you're burning an ultimate, a big cooldown like that just to find one target, you're not going to be able to win these team fights that are coming up. Now, Herald is coming up in 30 seconds. Dragon in a minute and 30 seconds here. Arctic Ops will want to try and stall these objectives, but they do have to be careful. It's not worth dying at. I want to see the vision set up, and I want to see them fishing for this. If they can't find it, walk away. But if you can keep poking, if you can set up that bullet time, you can set up that beautiful magnet storm to allow for that, then pull the trigger.
Yeah, and when you think about this MF Orianna, you think about these big 5v5 team fights. Everybody's there, everybody's just getting one shot. But in this case for Arctic Ops, wouldn't be opposed to seeing them try to use those big cooldowns on just like 1 or 2 members in a pick-like scenario. You know, going for a 5v5 probably just is not going to work out for you right now when you look at the power of Akira, of Scanning, even of Rem down in the bottom side. So yeah, just seeing them try to, you know, utilize that wombo combo to just pick up a couple of kills before some of the main big objectives come through, like the Baron, like this potential Soul Dragon for Ashe's Esports, could just be a bit of a litmus test to see how much damage they can do.
Yeah, and if they are going to be blowing everything, like you said, Grapes, on a single target, blow it on Scanning, not Akira. Scanning is the one with the smite. You kill Scanning, objectives off the board for the most part for Faye. Now, while all this is happening here, I was going to praise Arctic Ops' vision control on the top side because they had it fully warded. But despite the vision, Scanning just walked in and took Herald. And there was no response for Arctic Ops. And because they focus on the top side, they have no vision at Dragon.
Well, Dragon, as you said, is spawning in 5 seconds. Will be that infernal soul point here once again from Ashe's Esports. This is where we saw the game blow wide open in game 1, and so Rift Herald will be used in the mid lane to try to garner even more pressure from Ashe's Esports. And with that, will just be them going over to the Dragon. Will be Arctic Ops seeding it away.
Yeah, and they can even spare members to escort Shelly into that turret to guarantee that turret here. James,
getting hooked up and getting instantly one-shot Lawton, getting the final kill with that depth charge. An absolutely crucial pick onto the AD carry for Arctic Ops, as it looks like Ashe's Esports can continue a potential push here. Rift Herald did get a second charge onto that inner turret, and they're going to try to take it down.
Yeah, they will be able to take it down here. So for Arctic Ops right now, they need Conveying and Kuro both to be present to defend any fight here. Conveying is pushing top. Didn't even manage to get the turret because it's Orianna and she's not the best split pusher. Actually, might still be able to get that. And Kuro died early on. So the moment that happens, Arctic Ops just has to walk away and watch that inner turret goes down.
Yep, oh, teleport, can Conveying get the tower? Doesn't look like he will be able to, and now has to just get away from Zalt, who is pretty strong. Scout of the Week not in range just yet, but here comes Akira as well, who's walked in all the way from base up the lane. Will just be the solo laners chilling on the top side from Ashe's Esports, as Conveying is just going to stick around for a little bit longer to pick up this wave. Or not.
I think Conveying made the better choice to back off there. It's kind of risky. We already saw Akira, you know, kind of bully out the Orianna in that 1v1. So just go back to base, buy your items, reset. And this time I want to see, like I said, Conveying with Kuro. Do not split up your 2 carries here. I know that you're losing gold while it's happening, but you don't get any control if they're separated.
There's a chain onto Evo. Just can't walk into your own jungle. It's just Scanning's jungle at this point. Everything belongs to Ashe's Esports, so they get another pick onto the Arctic Ops jungler.
Okay, I was watching Swarms now, because you get that pick and Swarms is looking kind of juicy alone in that bot lane, but he will be able to get the back off. You know who else is looking juicy, Grapes?
Might be conveying up here. I don't even actually think he managed to take that recall. It's just been Akira pushing him in and forcing conveying to stay here. Beautiful 3-point strike. He proxied the first two and with a scout of the week to finish off the kill. Onto the tower. No minions necessary. Another kill going over onto conveying.
Okay, I was expecting a dive, but not like that. I mean, scanning brute forced it, and Zolt didn't even buy boots, just went straight for Serap's second item.
Oh, beautiful scatter coming out here from Shoes, but it looks like Arctic Ops want to fight. It will be Akira falling to try and stop the bullet time, forcing away the rest of from Ashe's Esports. But Ram and Lawton, the bot lane for their team, were able to push onto the bot side, take down the inner turret, looking for that inhibitor turret. Swarm's looking for something here, though. Yoma's Ghost Bleed popped by the Varus, will get out safely, meaning that no interaction will happen here with Swarms.
Good pick from Arctic Ops. Very necessary pick. But they're so far behind that Faye is actually still winning those trades. Yes, you did manage to get a big kill down onto a priority target, but there was no bounty on that. And on the other side of the map, Faye got a inner side lane turret, which is worth more gold. They buff the amount of gold your side lane inner turrets give you. So once again, Faye in the advantage here. The gold lead approaching the 10k mark, and Baron Grapes is on the table.
Well, this game is lasting a little bit longer than game one. We've already crossed the crucial point, so it will be Arctic Ops putting up a bit more of a fight here, but it will be Baron on the table. You know, from Ashe's Esports wasn't even able to take the Baron in game one because the game ended so quickly, so we'll see if that'll be a first for this series. Shoe's gonna get locked up here by the dredge line from Lawton. Rem doing so much damage here. The Shannon Corruption as well. Jess will be the support falling here. 1 for 0 so far. Blast Cone over, and it looks like from Ashes want to continue this fight. Shockwave will get flashed away from by Rem. Kuro looking for something, but scanning is looking onto the backside for a flank. Shows from Akira. Conveying's gonna get hit forward. Another 4-man trigger. He does it again. Akira with a crucial team fight gets the flash forward, gets 4 kills for his team, and it won't be the end of the game just yet, but Baron definitely on the menu.
Does this count as a Castle Curse, Grapes? Just when you're saying we had gone longer than the last game, and it might go a little longer yet, we get a almost full wipe coming through from the side of Faye, and we're just talking about Baron is spawn. Well, Baron's about to despawn here because there's no way Arctic Ops gets to even challenge this. Evo did no smite, and Kuro, you can't walk near that.
So far in this series, Baron Nashor has been alive for approximately 3 minutes in total. It was 30 seconds since it spawned in game 1. It's gonna be 2.5 minutes until it dies again in game 2. So just shows how quickly these games are going, how fast from Ashe's Esports are able to, you know, push the tempo of these games, get the early leads, and just finish the games afterwards. Will be soul point in about 30 seconds. Might be all they need to close this game out.
Yeah, and for Arctic Ops, they know it. You can see them. They're there. They're setting up the vision. That is the first step you need to do. But when you're this far behind, you can't actually fight on even ground. You need to find picks, and that means you don't only need to set vision at the entry to the Dragon Pit, but you actually want to try and catch Faye in rotation. They don't know.
She was looking, only gonna be in range of scanning right now. Just pops that elixir, and now that the dragon has spawned, it will just be a bit of a drag dance for now. Swarms to the and he gets nearly one shot by Zalt in that engage. Shoes with a good engage. Here comes the bullet time as well, but it just does almost nothing. It will be Lawton going down, but look at the backside. It is Akira doing the work onto the enemy carries. Kuro looking for something, but he will get taken down, but the wind becomes lightning. 3-man shockwave coming out from conveying, but the damage is not there. There's no follow-up from his team. There comes that standing net of it. Swarms is so low. Just teleport to its doom. Scanning will pick up a triple kill, trying to make it a quadra here as Akira drags Evo back in. One more auto will do it. The quadra kill is secured. The soul is secured, and you don't need to rise from the ashes if you're already on top. It's FAE looking to stay undefeated here in Risen Divine.
Baron still taking Grapes. They can push it, and they can potentially end. The death timers are fairly short here, and they should be up. Shoes is already back up, but what can a support do? What can even this Misfortune do? No bullet time available. They're pushing in 2 ways, and Lawton is now running up the mid lane, trying to get in for the final family picture.
They'll at least take down this mid inhibitor. They're going to try to get towards that top side as well. If it's not just to take down these 2 inhibs, it's to just open up even more waves for them to try to end the game. All members of Arctic Ops have respawned, but it doesn't look like FAE really cares. Looking to continue to push down. Lawton has finally joined the fight. Baron recall coming through from scanning, not going to be able to use it just yet, and now Arctic Ops going to try to look for something, but no, Conveying steps way too far forward, and he'll just get one shot instantly. Nice hook coming out from Lawton. Scanning going to flash forward for the knockup onto Evo, going to dash forward, pick up another kill, his 11th of the game, looking for another showstopper forward, and Kuro just gets one shot, and so does Shoes. Swarms is going to have to sit back in base and watch it fall as a clean sweep comes through from Ashe Esports. 45 minutes in total for the 2-0.
I'm speechless, Grapes, after that game. I'm not sure how to approach this, because coming into this particular series, I did not think it was going to be quite this one-sided here. And even watching it, I'm struggling to find where exactly was the inflection point. It felt like Arctic Ops had the right idea in the fights. Their setups weren't terrible, but from Ashe Esports, just constantly, they win the lane a little bit, they find a small lead here, there, and then they just blow it wide open. They just snowball it out of control. Yeah,
I mean, it was just very, very clean macro from start to finish from Ashe Esports, all revolving around the jungler. Scanning didn't get the biggest advantage in this game compared to his Poppy in game 1 with the triple buff, but was able to utilize the vertical jungling to his pleasure and able to pick up that first blood in the top side with the pressure that he was able to generate, and ended the game with a much better score than he even did in game 1. 11-1 and 10. Absolute beast.
Yeah, I mean, normally we like to try and pick an MVP here, Graves, but it's going to be really, really difficult for Faye, because Akira was an absolute monster here in game 2. Zot was an absolute monster in game 1 as well, and so was Rem. I mean, we didn't talk too much on Rem and Lawton this particular game because all the action was top focused, but Rem and Lawton were on point. Lawton's engages were on point, as Nautilus this game, and even last game on that Alistar as well. This team is firing on all cylinders, and every single player is a massive threat.
Yeah, and for the side of Arctic Ops, their winning streak comes to an end here. They will fall down to 2-2, but there's still a decent amount of games left to play. As we said, this is just week 4, so there's 2 more matches. Arctic Ops still trying to push towards the top of the standings, try to earn themselves a spot in the playoffs. But from Ashe Esports, they are definitely looking like the favorites to come out on top on Group B.
Yeah, and it's really up to the other sort of 2-seed challengers to try and beat them here. There's still Omega Gaming Wildcard, who was the team that beat Arctic Ops back in week 1 and won live to play GG as well, who might be able to challenge them. But take notes, gents, ladies and gents here. They've been on stream 2 weeks now. You've got 2 series to watch from Ashe Esports as to how to beat them. And for Arctic Ops here, they still have time. They are not out of the running here. I believe it's the top 4 from each division who do qualify to playoffs. So really, it's a battle mostly for seeding here. They can still make it in with high seeding. They just have to dominate their last 2 weeks.
Yeah, and as we said before, some of the wins that Arctic Ops did end up going with in weeks 2 and 3 were against some weaker opponents. So if you had to argue, they are sort of going through this gauntlet here right now. They just lost stuff from Ashe Esports, and they have Omega and One Life to play after that. So it's really going to be a test for them. If they can if they can beat the teams that are in front of them, they'll end up at a high seed. It's really their destiny moving forward.
Yeah, exactly, and credit to where credit's due as well. They had strong moments. I mean, Conveying didn't have his best series, but we've seen Conveying in other contexts before. He is a very mechanical, very strong player as well. I have no doubt he'll bounce back. Despite the fact that Kuro and Shoes might have lost the lane, their team fighting positioning was really good. I praised Lawton's engages. Shoes' engages were on point as well. It just didn't look that way because the team couldn't always follow up. And I've seen Evo as well in other contexts. He's really solid. Swarms, a bit of a question mark here, but I'm going to give Swarms the benefit of the doubt here because Akira just looked dirty. So maybe put Swarms on not tanks, on something that, has a bit more agency. Perhaps we'll have to see. Like I said, they still have time.
I mean, we saw him with the Mundo solo kill in game 1, so definitely is there. I think a lot of this just was from Ashe Esports getting some of the early leads and getting the game to a state where Arctic Ops couldn't really fight back with the team fight compositions that they set themselves up with. We'll see if they can try to fix some of their early game early game play in the coming weeks, as they just have a couple more matches to go until those playoffs come, until they really have to hunker down and play at their top. So that's just going to be it here for us on the Risen Divine League stream. Once again, we'd like to thank everybody here for tuning in. RMC, anything you want to say before we close this out?
Thanks for sticking by with all the tech delays there and tech issues. You know how computers sometimes are. And thanks to both our producers for tonight, Mermaid, who started us off, and Rando Joe, who stepped in to save us.
Yeah, thank you so much to our producers. Thank you to everyone watching at home. Thank you to RMC for being by my side throughout this lovely cast. Once again, congratulations to From Ashes Esports getting to that 4-0 spot in Risen Divine League. And we have week 5 action coming up next time. We'll see you then.